Hey Cory, Brian Cregan here. Try to keep this brief to keep the video quality together. As you can see on the face-on view on the left, put a bunch of markers on there. I'm just going to quickly run through what all those are and how I start to measure a golf swing. So you can see the blue dots are on your joints, your shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. And that's just to measure the orientation of those joints relative to each other. I like what I'm seeing there as far as the nature of those joints for a mid to high trajectory shot. The next one are the green dots. Got your head center, chest center, and hip center. Again, just checking the orientation of those. I like to see the chest and hip center basically right over top of each other, and then the head center just a tick behind that. And I like what I'm seeing there as well. You can see a couple of the other markers, the white line drawn from your left shoulder to the ground, marking the 0 point of the swing, and then measuring back in golf ball widths from there to your ball position. I'm measuring maybe B3.5 to B4, meaning back 3.5 to 4 golf ball widths from the shoulder joint. For a 7-iron, I think that's just a little bit farther back than I would prescribe. And then the last marker on there is the black line drawn on your cap, which is the head median line, which is basically the direction that your central vision would be looking behind the ball. So those two pieces are interesting to me in that they're usually low trajectory or steeper angle of attack pieces. Like if you were trying to hit the ball under a tree, I'd even do that more and move the ball back more. The reason this works this way is when you have the left ear lower than the right ear, it tends to translate your centers towards the target, and then vice versa. If you had the right ear lower than the left ear, you'd have the opposite tendency. So what we're going to see during your backswing is as you take the club away, your left shoulder goes down and your head center starts to translate towards the target slightly. Now, there's two ways you can go about this. One is you can change the orientation of the neck at address and the ears at address to make that black line or the head median line point more right at the ball or even slightly in front of the ball, and that would keep you from translating towards the target. The other one is, and this is probably what I'd prescribe, is keeping the head and neck tilted the way that you have it and then feeling more pressure shift to the right during the backswing. And I don't think you'll actually have any translation away from the target. You'll just stay dead centered. Jack Nicklaus would be an example of that. There's several others that you could go through the Rolodex and see guys that have their neck tilted the way that you have it. They can feel a lot more translation or pressure shift to the right during the initial takeaway and not actually translate off the ball. So as we look down the line really quickly, the two markers I've made there are your address shaft orientation, and I'll scrub through quickly your impact address or impact shaft orientation. It's raising a ton, and I think that's where you're going to run into some problems, particularly with a less lofted club, maybe a 4-iron or a 3-wood off the ground, and even sometimes with the driver. You could run into some issues there. So basically with the handle being so low at address like you have it, your radius to the ground from your left shoulder out to the ball is being cramped a little bit, and your ball position's back a little bit to hit a high shot. And then on top of that, with the way your neck tilt is and your initial takeaway moving your center towards the target slightly, you've cramped the radius even more. And so then you're basically fighting to squeeze the radius in the entire downswing, and that's where the only way to do that is to raise the handle excessively, and that can disrupt all sorts of pieces. So my initial prescription, just to keep it short here, is to feel a little bit more pressure shift to the right during the backswing. You can even do a drill where you start rolling your left ankle inward, almost get your left heel off the ground. Look at some pictures of Nicklaus for that. And then the other thing I would say is just get your handle just a touch higher at address. Maybe feel like you're standing just a touch taller from the legs to accommodate that. just a little bit less ankle and knee flexion. I like the way that your centers are oriented from down the line and at address from face on, so not a whole lot to change there. I think just the handle being up a little more to make room for that radius, kind of setting the left arm and the shaft a little bit higher at address so that you're setting that radius. And then if you want to just move your ball forward a half a ball, that would probably help as well to be able to fit that radius in there for a mid or high trajectory shot. So let me know if you have any questions on that. I like your golf swing. I think it's overall pretty good. And I don't want you to get lost in the alignments as you're kind of going down this road. Just tweak a couple things here and there, and I think you'll be on the right track. It looks like you have some good speed. And I looked up some of your tournament results. It looks like you're a decent player. So keep up the good work. Let me know if you have any immediate questions, and we'll go from there. Thanks.